Hi there and welcome to our first video on the atomic structure and the periodic table. In this video we're going to be starting off with the basics by looking at atoms. So first of all, what are they? So all substances are made from atoms and they're so tiny we can't even see them with the microscope. We're surrounded by atoms everywhere. Atoms contain certain elements which make them what they are, and we're going to have a look at that now, starting off with the nucleus. The nucleus is placed in the center of the atom. So if we had the atom over here, the nucleus is in the center. And surrounded by the nucleus are the electron shells which orbit the nucleus with electrons in them. So the whole atom contains protons, neutrons, and electrons. Protons having a positive charge, neutrons having a neutral charge, and electrons having a negative charge. The nucleus, as I said, is in the center of the atom and it contains protons and neutrons, and this gives the nucleus a positive charge. So electrons are really small, they don't really have a mass. We say the mass is normally 0 because it's that light, and protons and neutrons have a mass of 1. So putting that into writing over here, protons have a positive charge. They are held in the nucleus along with the neutrons, and the number of protons is the same as the number of electrons. So if you had one proton, that would be the same as one electron. And we're going to have a look at that later in this video. So neutrons have a neutral charge, and the neutrons are held in the nucleus with the protons, and neutrons have the same mass as the protons as we looked at it before. Electrons have a negative charge. They orbit the nucleus in electron shells, and the number of electrons is the same as the number of protons. So the periodic table, atoms are neutral and they have the same amount of the number of protons as electrons. As you know, protons have a positive 1 charge, electrons have a negative 1 charge. If you put that together, it will come to 0, giving the atom a neutral charge. The periodic table contains elements there, so there are around 100 elements in the periodic table. An element is a group of the same atoms. So if I drew an atom over here, an element would be a group of those same atoms. So this would be an element. So each element has a number at the top of it and underneath it. So we're going to have a look at that later in this video on the periodic table. And the number at the top is called the relative atomic mass, and the number at the bottom is called the atomic number. The atomic number tells us the number of protons, and the mass number contains the number of protons and neutrons. So if we had to find out the number of neutrons, you would just subtract the mass number minus the atomic number. So the atomic number from the mass number. So a periodic table over here, at the top is the atomic mass number and at the bottom is the atomic number. Remember, the protons are the same as the electrons. So if you had five protons, you would also have 5 electrons, and 11 over here is the relative atomic mass, and that tells us the protons and the neutrons. So over here, looking at boron, we have 5 protons and we have 5 electrons. So we have 5 protons, we have 5 electrons. How many neutrons do we have? All you have to do is subtract this number to this number. So it would be 11 subtract 5, which is 6. So we know boron has 6 neutrons because the atomic mass is the protons and the neutrons. So we know protons is 5, we just need to know the neutrons, so we just do 11 subtract 5. Another example is lithium. Over here, the atomic mass number at the top and the atomic number at the bottom. So we know that there's 3 protons over here, there's 3 electrons, and to find out the number of neutrons, we would do 7 subtract 3, which gives us 4. So we know that lithium has 4 neutrons, 3 electrons, and 3 protons. A final example, fluorine over here, we know it has 9 protons, 9 neutrons, and then 9 electrons, and then the neutrons would be 19 subtract 9, which would give us 10 neutrons. In our next video, we're going to be looking at some exam questions to do with atoms. But for now, that is it for this video. Thanks for watching. I hope you liked it. And one last thing, please subscribe and hit the like button.